Hi everyone, hope you're having a good day. I am doing this quick. I didn't think I was going to have time and I had a uber toothache, guys. It was awful. I wanted to go in a little bit of the instructions to show you that right on, if you just type in general instructions 1099, if you're having a hard time like figuring out how to fill things out, I always like to give people empowering tools. I downloaded a version and I also have, hopefully I don't keep freezing, guys. I'm so sorry about this stupid camera. So sickening. Awful, awful. I still have 7 more days on my Dia Dash, guys, before they let me out of YouTube jail. Isn't that funny? It's all good. It's like my Alpha 7 media channel is doing even better, so go figure, right? People, I'm getting more views and stuff on Alpha 7. But you'll get like instructions and stuff when you order them, guys. But if you want the PDF, you could just put General Instructions 1099. Okay. And I have it already open. I had a lot of great stuff open, but of course I started late. So depending on the time, guys. Depending on the time. But it goes into the 1096, 1097. Look, all the different versions. And you'd be surprised too, because in the directions, because you know how it has this perforated line? I believe they tell you to remove that. And I don't think I always did that in the past. See? So we all gotta use, you know, and it even like refers to the type of forms you'll be needing to use for different occasions. And it explains certain things. So let me get my head out of the way. Oh, of course. Wrong window, dipshit. So hopefully you can see it good, but it goes into who must file, right? And we'll go down a bit. And it goes into all the different versions. You got the miscellaneous, you have the C, of course. I mean, you got so many others, right? A lot of people talk about the NEC. That might be for like independent contractor. It's great if you have an EIN. I was literally online like half the morning getting a business trust EIN because I had a family one, but I wanted a business one. So it was like so much focus, right? You think that stuff is easy. These are the real tests, you know, filling out all these things correctly. So it does take a lot of mental focus. It tells you the payee. When you think of that, it's like the recipient. Payer is the one that's like paying, or the lender or the creditor. The giver, receiver type of aspect. It'll help you to remember. And if you go down, it'll give you information. It even tells you if you make a mistake. This TIH, due date and other requirements for furnishing statement. I think this means trust interest holder. Remember, that is you. You're going to see all these terms and you think it don't apply to you, but you need to know the rules of the game. You know, some people were asking me great books. Let me see. America, Imperialism, or Imperialism in America. It was a really good book. Imperialism. Because somebody asked me. I think it's from 1893. Kind of gives us a little bit of an understanding. Right here is this book. Somebody referenced it to me. Imperialism in America by Sarah E. Von DeVort Emery, 1893. But there's a lot of great books too, and I reference it too. Is that it? Let me see if there's a book cover. I'm sure there's a lot by that name. but it was by that particular author that I just mentioned. That's Sarah. It's the 1893 one, as long as it's that one. But there's a lot of different books too. I won't go into every single one. But yeah, so it'll get into a lot of these terms, and that's why you'll be furnished. See, furnishing statements. You get a lot of statements, huh? We all do. So understanding their terminology, that's what I do a lot of my time, guys. Really goes into reading. I know, isn't it so glamorous, the glamorous life? It really isn't, but at the same time, I'm working toward my glamorous life because the Most High has been so amazing with helping me understand some of this stuff. Stop it. Oh, that's just my portable hard drive acting the fool. With it, once you get more versed, you'll understand a lot of what this means in the original issue discount. So that's page 4. And it's just good to read through it a few times, because you're always going to get something new. I mean, they literally define things for us. We just don't take the time to read through things, try to get a proper understanding, then we start hooping and hollering. But you notice how this new generation, they talk like all Ebonics or like slang, or they speak in text now. Have you noticed that? It's like bet, this, that, no cap. It's like, what? Right? But they don't know nothing about the 1099 cap form, which there is, they say, now that's the cap you need to be worried about, but you try to break some of this down and they would have no idea, right? I mean, really, what a waste. And it'll tell you your pertinent locations depending on where the principal business is, right? Where you're mailing from, where you're doing business. So I'll go into it and it'll give you the different, see to the right. So this is just a good reference to help you if you have questions. It's always good for us to look it up, because also the IRS has been, or the Internal Revenue Service, the Treasury has been gracious enough, right, to put this up. But it's like, yeah, look at this. Look at the bottom. 1099 cap right there. Yeah, exactly. They don't know nothing about that cap. They're crazy. But let me go down. I think I was on page 8. So I'll go into what you would do if you made a mistake, or all these different things. So it really helps you break down all these, if you have like how to report incorrect payer name or TIN, if a payer discovers an error in reporting the payer, not recipient name and or tax identification number, write a letter containing the following information. They literally give you step by step and tell you where to send it, like stuff like that, you know what I mean? And it'd be like right here, West Virginia, take me home, right? That song, so good. So you go down a little bit more and it'll say do not, it tells you like certain things, and obviously the publications are key too. Like publication 1212, there's another one too, but definitely very important tools to include in your study kit, because that way you understand the terminology, right, and the lingo. So you got do not use dollar signs, they are pre-printed on the forms. Ampersands, asterisks, commas, or other special characters in money amount boxes. Do not use, don't use these things, or apostrophes, or an asterisk, or other special characters on the payee name line. Interesting. So they don't like any of this stuff. A lot of people have used that, so that's why they use a hyphen. You can use a hyphen, I believe. Common errors. Be sure to check your returns to prevent the following common errors. Duplicate filing. Do not send the same information to the Internal Revenue Service more than once. Number 2, filer's name, address, and TIN are not the same on Form 1096, so they gotta match. And the attached forms 1097, 1098, $10.99, so you want everything to match. So you see the prerequisites. $39.21, so you got all these different forms. You'd be like, oh, what are these things, you know? So you would understand. So a lot of us who are training to be future trustees are learning each and everything, you know, about these forms, how they pertinent, how they not, you know, why you would use it, and anybody who is interested in doing that, you know, that would be key, right? Understanding. Look, you got all these forms. MA, what's that? I mean, now I'm so curious. You got your 1098, 1099. And it's not saying you even need all those forms, but you know what I'm saying? That they're there. That they're there for a reason. So it'll tell you right here, ooh, the do nots. Because you know how people say, oh, you can get copies at Staples, all that. It says no photocopies of any forms are acceptable. You know, just get the original ones, or like do it online, I would say. Do not staple, tear, or tape any of these forms. Okay, so do not tear. But it says right here, pin, feed holes on the form are not... Oh, okay, so it says don't cut them or anything like that, like leave them whole. But I guess those holes on the side, I think that's what this is, right? The pin feed holes on the form are not acceptable. Pin feed strips outside the 8.5 by 11 inch area must be removed before submission without tearing or ripping the form. Substitute forms prepared in continuous or strip form must be burst and stripped to conform to the size specified for a single sheet 8.5 by 11 inches before they are filed with the IRS. Do not change the title of any box on any form. Do not use a form to report information that is not properly reportable on that form. And you got a toll-free number right there, folks, if you get stuck. If it's that serious. It says do not submit any copy other than copy A to the IRS, or Internal Revenue Service. So we already went through that. So definitely be careful. Get rid of that strip. If you filed a return with the IRS and later discovered you made an error on it, you must correct it as soon as possible and file copy A in Form 1096 with your IRS Submission Processing Center. See Part D. Furnish statements to recipients showing the correction. When making a correction, complete all information, and then you can also see file corrected returns on paper form. So it leads you down another road to help you understand. Now you can see why I print so much paper out sometimes, just printing out some of this stuff. Do not cut right here or separate forms that are 2 or 3 to a page. Submit the entire page even if only one of the forms on the page is completed. Do not staple the forms to Form 1096. Do not send corrected returns to the IRS if you are correcting state or local information only. Contact the state or local tax department to help with this type of correction. So if you want to correct the payer information, you can go here, reporting incorrect payer, name and or TIN earlier. Form 1096, use a separate Form 1096 for each type of return you are correcting. For the same type of return, you may use one Form 1096 for both originals and corrections. You do not need to correct a previously filed Form 1096. Corrected checkbox, enter an X in the corrected checkbox only when correcting a form previously filed with the IRS or furnished to the recipient. Certain errors require 2 returns to make the correction. See filing corrected returns on paper forms. Later, to determine when to mark the corrected checkbox. So you got all of this information, filing corrected forms. So it'll go into, if you need to void one out, you put an X in the void box at the top of the form. Will not correct a previously filed return. So you have to see Part H for instructions for making corrections. So I'd have to go into that. Part H. Where are you, Part H? So I'll go into right back to where we were. If you filed a return with the IRS and later discover you made an error on it, you must correct it as soon as possible and file copy A in Form 1096 with your IRS submission processing center. C, Part D. See how it brings you all over? Use the 3-line address for your state for mailing information returns. Send all information returns filed on paper to the following. And then you go back here and it'll tell you if you live in New Hampshire, Ohio, Vermont, you would send it to the Internal Revenue Service, Austin Submission Processing Center, P.O. Box 149213, Austin, Texas 78714. And I'm here in Massachusetts, so I would have the same one. So, yeah, this is really interesting. I hope this helped. I don't know how much time I have. I'm like in the middle of stuff, per usual. But I'm just giving you a couple of tips. I know we can really dig into it, but you know, just a couple of things if you didn't know in all these different forms. Meanwhile, most people, you know, think that doesn't apply to them, and how you can't get amazing results. And a lot of people have already proven that. But to each their own, you know. It's all about having that circumcision of the heart. I wanted to go into this. I don't think I will have time. I wonder how this looks if I do it like this. Or like this. Isn't that funny? I like it. Ah! How about if I like that? Some people have theirs down there. I don't know if it would be easier on the eyes like that, guys. I kind of like it up here. What do you think? That's just me. I like playing with it a little bit. Because I was going into a little bit of the good book, of course, because we all need to be circumcised of the heart before we can do a damn thing. Because a lot of people have stony hearts, you know. They need one of these guys. Because I'm noticing this whole process, even the people that I'm meeting, you know, in this movement has been so humbling because we all have a story. And I've met really spiritual people that have been just such an honor to meet, guys. You know, it's been pretty great. And the studying I have done has been pretty amazing. I was reading a little bit of myself too, because Ben put up a video yesterday. Hey Ben, going into it and stuff, and I appreciate anybody who you know, first started noticing my channel and coming up. Like, he was one of the few that really gave me a lot of love in the beginning, and his friend Lex too, and there's many others too. And it's free to pay attention. It's just a couple, you know, like really you know, looked out. There's also another one, Copper, I forget the name. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's raining out here. It's just crazy today. But Ben was reading from let me show you, Jeremiah chapter 9. But he left off like he was I don't think I have time to go into this the way I wanted to today. He was reading, I remember, I remember he was reading from here. Verse 23, thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might, let not the rich man glory in his riches, right? Right, that's where he left off. But then I was like reading the rest. I'm like, you got to keep going. But let him that glorieth in the Lord, that he understands, I think he read this too, and knows me, that I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised, the Most High's people as well. Because this is really about a heathen state of mind. I wanted to go into it because the next chapter really goes into it, and we can really, really dissect, all the different ways how it applies today. And you got Egypt, Judah, and Edom, and the children of Ammon and Moab, and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. And that's what all I was trying to say too. I'm like, wow, he's so close to the verse that was totally encapsulating. Because I love the Most High's people, and I'm always the first one to help all people. And when they, sometimes, some of them are humble, and some of them can be very proud, right? And can think, when they find out who they are, they think, oh, okay, now, basically like they're special, and that's great, but at the same time, that doesn't like absolve all your sins right away. Like, we're still accountable. And like, they can get sometimes really arrogant about it, and they show their uncircumcision in their heart, because that's what the Most High is looking at, right? And the inside, right? Not to take away from whatever else, but when it becomes just about that, it's like they're missing it, So that's what I was, trying to say, because that's kind of how I saw it. And of course, Jeremiah chapter 10 goes into what sounds like the darn Christmas tree. But since we've been talking about the straw man and the false image and the mask that we wear as a legal person, it is almost like that's become like our God, what is no God, right? We make, these things can be applied to so many things that people are going through right now. And he'll go into a little bit here. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaks unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen, with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that move it not. Celebrities. I'll just put celebrities. Or these heathen state of mind people. Right? And it's not just one or the other, right? Everybody is celebrating Christmas. Let's see. Well, that's not really. Celebrity families. Let's do that. Families celebrating. Because you get that with a lot of people, all that love the system or don't want to know the truth. Know what I'm trying to say? Celebrities, all the celebrities, heathen state of mind, they fasten it with nails and with hammers that move it not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must need be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. That is how you have to look at judges, administrators, all that. I gotta go, guys, because I am running out of time, and of course I'm getting interrupted, but I'm just letting you know not to be scared of these entities. because it's not, you know, in them to do good or evil, and we'll have to go into it. It's about being circumcised of the heart, because people have forgotten that, right, in this walk, and they make it about something else, and we're all just trying to fight this thing together. It's no shade, it's all love to everybody, you know, and we'll go into this another time because this can be a whole video in itself. But yeah, just keep your heart, you know, circumcise the heart, and then a lot of this stuff that seems so hard to understand will be that much more, you know, you'll understand it that much more with the Spirit of the Most High helping you. So I hope that helped. I gotta make this short. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.